These are not just games. These are stories that stayed with me long after I put the controller down. Some made me cry. One made me question everything I did in the last 30 hours. So today, 15 games, one list, no filler. If you're new here, hit subscribe, because this channel is basically a home for people who play games for the story, not just the shooting. Let's get into it. 1. Heavy Rain. Okay, first one is old, but it still hits different. Heavy Rain. This game came out back in 2010, but it did something most games still don't do today. Every choice you make actually changes the ending. Not changes a cutscene, changes the actual story. You play as 4 different people trying to find a killer, and here's the thing, any of them can die, even the main guy. I remember failing one QuickTime event and just watching a character I liked get taken out of the story completely. No do-over, the game just moves on without them. That hit me hard the first time. There's a killer in this story called the Origami Killer, and the game actually lets you finish the whole thing without ever finding out who it really was. That's how much your choices control what you even get to see. If you like games where your decisions actually matter, this is where that whole idea started for a lot of people. Next one, Until Dawn. This is basically a horror movie you control. 8 friends, 1 mountain, 1 night, and a whole lot of bad decisions. The thing I love about this game is the butterfly effect system. Small choices early in the game come back way later and you don't even realize it until it happens. I picked up a random note in Chapter 2, forgot about it completely, and it saves someone's life in Chapter 8. Every character can die, and honestly, some of them deserve it. There's also this psychiatrist character who talks to you directly between chapters, asking about your own fears. Turns out, those answers actually change what scares your character later in the game. If you've got friends over and a controller each, this is one of the best watch everyone panic games out there. 3. Alan Wake 2. This one is weird in the best way possible. You're playing as a writer stuck inside his own story and an FBI agent investigating murders that are somehow connected to his book. 2 characters, 2 timelines, and honestly, the game plays with your head on purpose. Remedy, the studio behind this, loves messing with what's real and what's not, and here they took it to another level. The horror parts are genuinely unsettling, not jump scare unsettling, more like something is wrong with reality unsettling. There are actual live action sequences mixed into the game, real actors, and somehow it doesn't feel out of place at all. Saga Anderson, the FBI agent, has this whole mind palace mechanic where she pieces together the case like a detective board, and it makes you feel like you're actually solving something. If you enjoyed weird, layered stories like Control, this is that energy but darker.
A Plague Tale Requiem. This is the story of a brother and sister just trying to survive Middle East France during the plague. Sounds simple, right? It's not. The sister, Amicia, is protecting her little brother Hugo, who has this strange power connected to rats. Thousands of rats, and it only gets worse as the story goes on. The first game was already sad, but this one goes even further with what it puts these two through. There's a scene near the end that genuinely wrecked me, and I don't say that about a lot of games. Amicia isn't some superhero either. She's just a scared teenager who slowly turns into someone willing to do awful things to keep her brother alive. And Hugo's power isn't just a cool ability. It's basically a ticking clock over the entire story, because the more he uses it, the less control he has over it. If you want a story about siblings, about what you'd actually do to protect family, this is one of the most emotional games on this whole list.
We fight.
Detroit Become Human. 3 androids, 3 storylines, 1 question running through the whole game. What actually makes someone alive? You control Connor, an android hunting down other androids that are breaking their programming, Kara, who's trying to protect a little girl, and Marcus, who ends up leading an entire android uprising. Every scene has choices, and I mean every single one, and the branching paths in this game are honestly insane. 2 people can play this exact game and end up with completely different stories. After every chapter, the game actually shows you a flowchart of every path you could have taken, including the ones you missed. The first time I saw how many branches I skipped without even knowing, I genuinely wanted to restart the whole chapter right there. It's one of those games where after you finish it, you immediately want to talk to someone else who played it just to compare what happened in their playthrough. Disco Elysium. Now this one is different from everything else on this list. There's no combat, no action. You play a detective who wakes up with total amnesia, doesn't remember his own name, and has to solve a murder while figuring out who he even is. Sounds slow, but the writing in this game is some of the best writing in any game ever. Your own skills talk to you inside your head, like your logic and your emotions are literally separate voices arguing with each other. It's funny, it's sad, it's political, it's a lot of things at once. You can actually build your detective as a communist, a fascist, or someone who doesn't care about any of it, and the whole world reacts differently to who you become. There's no right way to play this game, which honestly makes it feel more real than most games that give you a clear good or bad path. If you love reading, if you love dialogue-heavy games, this is basically a novel you get to control. Life is strange. Max Caulfield is just a normal photography student until she finds out she can rewind time. Sounds fun at first, right? Fix your mistakes, redo a bad answer in class, but the game slowly shows you that some things you rewind still leave a mark, even when you undo them. Max uses her power to save her best friend, Chloe, from getting shot. And from that one choice, this whole story unravels around the missing girl and the town that's hiding something dark. The ending of this game splits into two paths, and I still see people arguing online about which one is the right choice, years later. There's also this quiet, slow feeling through the whole game. Small town Oregon, skipping class, sitting by the lighthouse, that makes the emotional moments hit even harder when they come. If you've ever wished you could undo one decision in your life, this game basically builds an entire story around that exact feeling. Ghost of Tsushima. This is a story of Jin Sakai, a samurai during the Mongol invasion of Japan. And honestly, this game does something most samurai games don't even try. It makes you question your own code. Jin was raised to fight with honor, one-on-one, face-to-face. But the Mongols don't fight fair, so Jin has to become someone his own family would look down on just to actually protect his people. Stealth, tricks, poison, everything his uncle calls dishonorable. Watching him slowly turn into the Ghost is one of the best character arcs in any open-world game. There's even a black and white cinema mode in this game, styled after old samurai films, and playing it that way genuinely changes how the whole story feels. His uncle, Lord Shimura, actually becomes one of the hardest relationships in the story, because you start realizing the man who raised you might be the one holding you back. And the island itself, the way the wind literally guides you where to go, that's just a nice touch on top of a really solid story. Mass Effect 2. This is a space opera where you're basically assembling a team for a suicide mission, and the game tells you that straight up. You recruit different characters across the galaxy, you build loyalty with each of them, and by the end, who lives and who dies in that final mission depends entirely on how well you actually knew your crew. I lost people in my first playthrough because I didn't upgrade the ship in time. That still bothers me. If you played the first Mass Effect and import your save into this one, the game actually remembers choices from that game too, so your Shepard genuinely feels like your own version of the story. Every crew member gets their own personal mission, and skipping even one can quietly cost you their life later without any warning. This is one of those rare games where side characters feel like they matter just as much as the main story, sometimes more.
10. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter, searching for his adopted daughter Ciri, while a literal army from another world is hunting her too. But honestly, the main story is just the surface here. The side quests in this game tell better stories than most full games do on their own. There's one about a soldier's ghost still fighting a war that's already over. There's one about a family destroyed by grief that turns into something dark. This game respects your time. Every quest usually means something. There's a quest line about a baron looking for his missing wife and daughter that starts small and turns into one of the saddest stories in the entire game. And the choices here don't just close in an hour. Some decisions you make early on don't show their real result until many hours later, sometimes an entire kingdom's worth of consequences. If you've never played it, just know people are still talking about this game almost 10 years later for a reason. God of War Ragnarok. This is Kratos, trying to be a father to Atreus while an actual apocalypse is coming. What I love about this game is it's not really about the gods fighting, even though there's plenty of that. It's about a father trying to break a cycle of violence he's lived his whole life, and the son trying to figure out who he wants to become. Some of the quietest scenes in this game, just Kratos and Atreus talking on a boat, those hit harder than the big boss fights.
Freya's story runs alongside theirs too, a mother dealing with her own son turning against everything she raised him to be, and it mirrors Kratos in a way that sneaks up on you. The whole game is also shot like one continuous take, no hidden cuts, and once you notice that, you can't stop noticing how much work went into it. It's proof that even a game about literal gods can still feel personal. Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, this game had a rough launch, everyone knows that. But if you play it now, especially with the Phantom Liberty expansion, this is one of the best stories in gaming right now. You're V, a mercenary in Night City who ends up with a dead terrorist digital ghost living inside your own head, slowly taking over your body. The whole game becomes a race against time to find a way to survive, and every ending you can get feels earned, not just tacked on. The life path you pick at the start, Street Kid, Nomad, or Corpo, actually changes how certain characters treat you throughout the whole game, not just in the first hour. Characters like Judy and Panam feel like real people with their own problems, not just side quests waiting for you to show up. Night City itself feels alive in a way very few open worlds manage. Every corner has a story if you slow down and actually look. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. This one is newer, and if you haven't heard of it, you need to. Every year, a giant painted woman called the Paintress writes a number on a monolith, and everyone that age or older just disappears. So every year, an expedition of people about to turn that age goes out to try and kill her, knowing most of them won't come back. This game is beautiful, genuinely one of the best looking games right now, but the story underneath it is way heavier than it looks. It's about grief, about loss, about people choosing to fight a war they know they'll probably lose. The combat is turn-based, but you can actually dodge and parry in real time during enemy attacks, so it never feels slow even in the story-heavy moments. And without spoiling too much, the connection between the Paintress and one of your own party members is the kind of twist that makes you want to replay the whole game just to catch what you missed. This is proof that story-driven games are not slowing down. They're just getting started. Red Dead Redemption 2. Arthur Morgan, an outlaw in a gang, watching the old way of life slowly die out while the modern world closes in around them. This game takes its time, and honestly, that's the whole point. You're not rushing from mission to mission, you're living with this gang. You're watching Arthur slowly realize the life he lived might not have been worth it. There's a moment later in the game where Arthur just sits by a fire and talks about who he could have been. No mission marker, no reward, just a character being honest with himself. There's also an honor system running quietly in the background, and how you treat people, strangers, your own gang, ends up shaping which version of the ending you actually get. By the final chapters, this isn't really an outlaw story anymore. It's just a man trying to make peace with the life he chose before it's too late. That's the kind of writing most games don't even attempt.
And a lot more.
And number 15, The Last of Us. If you've watched this channel for even one video, you knew this was coming. Joel, a man who lost everything, escorting Ellie, a girl who might hold the cure to the infection that destroyed the world. What starts as just a job slowly becomes something Joel is not ready to admit to himself. The ending of this game is still one of the most talked about endings in gaming because it doesn't give you a clean answer about whether what happens was right. It just shows you what a broken man does when he's scared of losing someone again. There's a DLC called Left Behind that shows Ellie's life before she met Joel, and honestly, it might hit even harder than the main story does. This story eventually became a full HBO show too, and it's proof that what this game did with its characters wasn't just good for a game, it was just good storytelling, period. This game basically proved to the entire industry that a game could be treated like a film, like real art, and gaming hasn't been the same since.
Hope you know how to use that thing.
I've had some practice.
And that's the list. 15 games, 15 completely different reasons to pick up a controller. Let me know in the comments which one you're playing first or which game I missed that deserved a spot on this list. If this video helped you find your next game, do me a favor, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next video.